Welcome to the first episode of the Ether PDF read through. I'm going to be reading through the PDF and providing commentary on design decisions, and I'll also be breaking down particular mechanics in case they're confusing. I really want to make this game as accessible as possible, so as I read through, whenever I get to something that seems like it could be misunderstood or confusing, the goal with this is to break into that and zoom in. So with this first episode of the read through, I wanted to just go over credits and reasons why the game exists. So first of all, it's written by me, and to get it out of the way, there was no AI involved in any of the writing. So the book itself, the PDF and the print version, which is on the way, was all designed, formatted, laid out by my wife, Rachel Diazena. She did an amazing job, as I can scroll through real quick and show you. It's beautiful. Going into the game, I wanted it to be very clear and accessible, and she nailed that. It's very clean while still maintaining this texture and fantasy elements, which brings us to the artwork, which is public domain. All the black and white stuff is by Odilon Rodin. I just jumped in the Odilon Rodin Wikipedia real quick just to break him down, because I think that's important, because his artwork is throughout the PDF. So Odilon Rodin was an artist in the 1800s. He died in 1916. He was known for painting, printmaking, and drawing. He was part of the post-impressionism and symbolism movements, and a lot of his artwork is public domain now. And so early on, when we were making a prototype of the game, Rachel knew about this guy and his artwork, and just threw some of that in there because it's public domain, and that just stuck. And it feels like, it sounds crazy, but it feels like it was meant to be in the game, the artwork. I mean, I guess we found his stuff so early on that you could also say that his artwork influenced the game itself too, and the game and the art became like intertwined in this way, because I still had a lot to figure out. Seeing the artwork beside the rules and the writing was inspiring in itself, and I have to give a lot of credit to that. So yeah, as crazy as it sounds, it feels like it was meant to be in the game, but again, it's public domain, so anyone else can use it and do whatever they want with it. And I'm not saying that this is the ultimate this isn't the ultimate showcasing of the artwork. He has plenty more amazing pieces that you can find in museums and online, and check it out. It's really good. Very surreal and symbolic. And then, of course, the game would not exist without all the playtesters. Of course, we have Rachel. As amazing as she is with visuals, she's also an amazing player, and really immerses herself and brings these characters to life. We have Ezra Arnhart. Same thing with them. They get very immersed in the game, bring a lot of emotion that surprises me and has helped me to implement particular mechanics and rules to serve their play style. I think that they really showed up for the types of players that get attached and immersed. We have Ev Cannon, big gamer. They provided lots of feedback, very valuable feedback, and really kind of not pushed necessarily or stress tested. Ezra stress tested. Ev really experimented with the game's rules, and really kind of played around with the things that the game provides. There's Holden Curran. He's one of those players that kind of steps into the leadership role. Is a bit of a debater, and kind of makes those kind of game time calls. Bo Smith always had a very fun, kind of simplistic character that I think he liked to kind of figure out as he played, and also did a lot of exploring, tinkering, experimenting. Cameron Hardiman, lots of improvisation coming from him, really making me feel like I'm there, which is amazing from a player to really kind of give back the energy of presence in the game world. Job Childers. Job was a looter. Loved to get his hands on anything. Was surprisingly super sassy with the NPCs and always made me laugh. Michael Gilbert, always pulling off the craziest stunts. Daniel Litkar, just kind of there to have a good time, and really did some crazy stuff. Cameron Davis really got into character. Annika Seppala, super curious about the mechanics of the game and very patient, supportive. Nikolai Diaz, my little brother, a big gamer, very experimentative with the game, really pushed its limits. Jason Diaz. So Nikolai is my baby brother. Jason is my little brother, closer to my age. So we grew up playing with toys and everything, and playing pretend. So playing with him is just always going back to that world. And last but not least, we have these three very important people, Alex, Eldon, and Ryan, who were all three in the first showcase game of Ether. It's a 5-episode series, 6 if you count the character introductions episode. They did an amazing job. Like, all three of them are immensely skilled and talented and creative and curious and patient. So inspiring. Which I'm so gracious for, because that series was the first time that these three played the game. So, thank you, Alex, Eldon, and Ryan. If you're watching this, thank you very much. Inspiration and attribution. So I'll probably make another video on this, but long story short, I got into 5e in 2015. Played that on and off for a few years. Stopped playing for a while. Then I moved to a new city. Started meeting a lot more like-minded people and wanted to play D&D with them. So I tried and remembered why I was on and off with it. Just the way my mind works, that many rules wasn't accessible for me. Not because it didn't make sense, but because I would find myself getting pulled out of the game to make sure I'm playing by the rules, because that's how my mind works. I want to do it right, and to do it right in 5e, you need to kind of sift through a lot of stuff, which if you know how to do that and your whole group knows how to do that and enjoys doing that, it's a great game. So I tried playing 5e with this new group of friends. It wasn't really working the way I wanted it to, so I looked for other systems. So I looked around for a bit and I found these two games, Dungeon World and Into the Odd. With Dungeon World, I was listening to an amazing podcast called Discern Realities by Jason Cordova and David Lafreniere. If you haven't listened to it, even if you don't ever plan on playing Dungeon World, it's just a really good podcast where they have segments, and then at the end, at some point they were doing like a series of like just tiny micro one shots at the end of each episode to showcase how the game worked. Really, really good podcast. And with Dungeon World, I fell in love with the 3 outcome conflict resolution system with failure, partial, success. That was a game changer for me. With Into the Odd, it's kind of the opposite, where it's a roll under system, and the fluidity of that kind of game is incredible and definitely worth trying. And I'm probably going to go back to it because it's so fun. for another era of gaming. I think I will go back to it. But in Into the Odd and Electric Bastion Land, both by Chris McDowell. Chris McDowell is a master at creating games that are broad and vague, but still rich in imagery and a knowingness of how the game works, if that makes any sense. So when it comes to the like pie chart of all the inspirations for Ether, Chris McDowell takes up a huge chunk with Into the Odd and Electric Bastion Land. Also, his whole like YouTube channel is a huge inspiration. Dungeon World, especially the way that Jason Cordova presents it, would take another huge chunk. And then there's all these other games that kind of come out of that world. So there's Cairn by Yochai Gal, which does an amazing job of pulling traditional D&D into the Odd, because it's a marked by the Odd game. It's like the core mechanics are basically Into the Odd that Yochai like built around. Knave by Ben Milton kind of, to me, goes hand in hand with Cairn, as far as like inspiration. They both kind of float around in that like OSR space, as like kind of heavy hitter games. The inventory system in Knave was super inspiring, and with Trophy Gold, the rituals system, which is like their spellcasting mechanic, was hugely inspiring for the spellcasting in Ether, where there's like specific flavor to the ritual, but you can still kind of take it wherever you want. Cairn did something like that too, as well as Knave. And I think with Knave, it might be another Ben Milton game, but he has a system of generating how spells work with rolls, which I think is really cool. So that was the credits video for Ether. Thank you for watching. If you want to download it for free, you can on itch. The link will be in the description. Also, check out the actual play playlist to watch Ether in action. Like I was talking about earlier, that first series is so good. The Temple of the Ancient Face is the name of it. Okay, bye.